Police are continuing to hunt for two gunmen after a 16-year-old boy was shot in the arm in Salford. Officers were called to the scene of the incident in the Highcroft area of Eccles on Sunday, March 19. Police believe the boy was shot at while riding his motorbike. The suspects, two men, were also on a motorbike, officers believe. The teenager was taken to hospital with arm injuries following the suspected shooting. His injuries were serious but not life-threatening. In an update issued yesterday, a spokesperson for Greater Manchester Police confirmed that there are no arrests have been made since the incident. Officers are continuing to hunt for the two suspects. After the shooting, a number of roads were taped off in the area. Ivy Street Park was also cordoned off. Police are continuing to urge anyone with any information or any dashcam or CCTV footage to come forward. A family who were conspiring to sell drugs were busted by police after they recovered cannabis and MDMA from their home in Alderley Edge. A mum and her son have been jailed following the investigation, while her other son avoided prison but was handed a suspended sentence. Julie Finney, 48, Marcus Finney, 28, and Dylan Hepburn, 19, all appeared at Chester Crown Court on Monday, March 20th, where they were sentenced for conspiracy to supply Class A and conspiracy to supply Class B drugs. They had all pleaded guilty at an earlier hearing. Marcus Finney was handed a 4.5-year jail term, while Julie Finney received 3 years imprisonment. Dylan Hepburn was handed an 18-month suspended sentence. The court heard that the family of Oakfield Close, Alderley Edge were conspiring together to facilitate the supply of drugs across the Alderley Edge area between January 2020 and May 2021. The case began on Friday, the 18th December 2020, when officers executed a warrant at the family home as part of Operation Yellow Lakeside, which saw officers recovering a quantity of cannabis, a small amount of MDMA, and more than £1,000 of cash from Hepburn's bedroom. Hepburn was subsequently arrested alongside two other individuals who were later eliminated from the investigation. On Wednesday, 3rd March 2021, plainclothes officers detained Marcus Finney following suspicious activity at Alderley Edge train station. When searched, officers recovered a small amount of cannabis, a quantity of cash, and a mobile phone. Upon accessing the device, officers found messages detailing information arranging the sale of drugs. A second warrant was conducted at the family home that day, leading to the seizure of cannabis and drug paraphernalia from Marcus Finney's bedroom. In custody, Finney was subject to a search where officers located and seized cocaine thought to be worth an estimated between £100 and £105. Evidence from the phone seized showed that the two brothers would use flare messaging to advertise the sale of both cocaine and cannabis to addicts across the area. The message data also evidenced that the brothers were arranging to purchase wholesale amounts of drugs by the kilogram. Data obtained from their mother's mobile revealed that the drugs distributed by the family were being stored at their address, with her bank details repeatedly provided to buyers paying for drugs. Police Constable Sam Needham said, "With the strength of evidence we've been able to gather, the trio had very little option other than to plead guilty to the charges against them. Their convictions are just testament to the great work of our officers involved in this case, which, in turn, shows the value of police stop searches. I hope that their sentence next month will serve as a warning to others who intend to come to Cheshire to commit crime. We will catch you and we will bring you to justice." Ooh. A man has been arrested after police uncovered a cannabis farm following a dawn raid in Salford. Officers executed a warrant at a house on Glendore West on the early morning of Friday the 24th of March. They found around 150 to 200 plants in the property, Greater Manchester Police said. A man in his 30s was arrested on suspicion of cultivation of cannabis. He remains in police custody for questioning. Police Sergeant Philip Metcalf from the Salford South East Neighbourhood Policing Team said, "This was a great result from our neighbourhood team and reinforces our commitment to tackling criminal factions on our streets." Right. "We will continue to shut down these dangerous farms, which can endanger those in the community with their dangerous and unsafe setups. We are committed to keeping the public safe and we will do what we can to clamp down on any illegal activities." A man has been found in a canal after going missing on the day before his birthday, an inquest has heard. Peter Curfew was last seen more than 3 weeks before his body was pulled from the Leeds and Liverpool Canal in Wigan. A member of the public found the 44-year-old in a stretch of water near to Horton Street on April 11th of last year. An inquest at Bolton's Coroner's Court on Tuesday the 21st of March heard that Mr. Curfew drowned whilst under the influence of mixture of drugs. Mr. Curfew, who had a history of mental health problems and substance abuse, had been discharged from a mental health unit just months earlier. Deborah Mercer, Miss Curfew's mother, told the inquest that her son had excelled at school and was a keen rugby player and swimmer. She described him as charismatic and popular, but said he had fell in the wrong crowd during his teenage years and began to experiment with drugs. The inquest heard that Mr. Curfew from the Marsh Green area was later diagnosed with schizophrenia and had previously spent time in a mental health hospital. Miss Mercer said she had visited her son on a daily basis and had shouldered the burden for much of his care for about 10 years. She said she began to notice a deterioration in his mental health around February 2021. Mr. Curfew's behaviour started to turn violent and unpredictable, and she said she believed he was on a downward spiral. By that summer, she described Mr. Curfew as out of control and needed sectioning. Miss Mercer raised concerns about her son's behaviour with Clare House, a mental health service based in Wigan, but she said she was told he was fine. In December of that year, Mr. Curfew was sectioned under the Mental Health Act and was admitted as a voluntary inpatient at the Atherley Park Mental Health Hospital in Leigh. While at the hospital, the inquest heard he was diagnosed with a mental and behavioural disorder which is believed to have caused the polysubstance misuse. After refusing to return from a period of leave the following month, Mr. Curfew was discharged from the facility. Miss Mercer said she believed her son was profoundly unwell and needed to be placed in a secure unit. However, she said he was good at masking his condition when talking to clinicians. He was just out of control, she added. Even when he was not taking his drugs, he was just completely out of his mind. In February of last year, Mr. Curfew attended A&E, where he reported feeling suicidal and asked to be sectioned. Matthew Sudden, a clinical lead within Wigan's mental health liaison team, said Mr. Curfew revealed he owed money to drug dealers and reported hearing voices telling him to kill himself. However, Mr. Sudden said the decision was taken not to section Mr. Curfew as his concerns were deemed to have been linked to drug debts rather than deterioration in his mental health. Mr. Curfew was last seen on the evening of March 17 when he and a friend took the antipsychotic drug Zopicon together, the hearing was told. Detective Chief Inspector John Davies of Greater Manchester Police said CCTV from a car garage showed Mr. Curfew walking in a zombie-like state across the forecourt in the early hours of the following morning. Shoes, socks, and a small amount of blood were later found inside the car at a garage, which the inquest heard suggested Mr. Curfew had taken drugs inside the vehicle. The footage then found Mr. Curfew walking in the direction of the canal, Detective Chief Inspector Davies said. He described the towpath near where Mr. Curfew was found as uneven and poorly lit. Family members of Mr. Curfew reported him missing to police on March 19 after he failed to appear for his 44th birthday the previous day. A member of public found Mr. Curfew's body lying face down in a canal on the afternoon of April the 11th. Detective Chief Inspector Davies said it was likely Mr. Curfew had entered the water sometime before that date. He said the police investigation ruled out any suspicious circumstances surrounding his death. Pathologist Dr. David Barker told the inquest a post-mortem examination had given Mr. Curfew's cause of death as drowning due to combined effects of drugs. Toxicologist Dr. Julie Evans added that the test would reveal cannabis, cocaine, morphine and Zopicon in Mr. Curfew's system, but all were at a level indicative of recreational use. However, she said the combined effect of the drugs could cause Mr. Curfew to become confused and would have impacted his balance and ability to swim.